What's up everyone, and welcome back to Top 5 Central. When two people like each other, they date. It's kinda just how the world works. However, with celebrities, it's a little bit different since so many people care about what they do. So today we're looking at 5 celebrities you didn't know dated each other. Anyways, if you've ever dated someone, leave a like on the video and comment your longest lasting relationship and how it ended. But with that said, let's get right into the video. Number 5. Lena Headey and Jerome Flynn. If you're a Game of Thrones fan, and let's face it, that's basically everyone nowadays, then think about this. Have you ever seen Cersei and Bronn in the same room together? If you haven't caught up yet or you can't remember, here's a spoiler for you. You never have, and you probably never will. It seems weird, right? I mean, the two of them are in the same place for a lot of the first couple of series, and yet you never see them on screen together, like drinking wine or gossiping about who they think is gonna die next. Well, it turns out the reason they're kept so far apart has nothing to do with the characters or the show, and a lot more to do with the actors. That's right, Lena and Jerome literally cannot stand each other, and if you've ever seen the title of this video, you could probably guess why. Have you got it? Well, if you didn't, the two of them dated way back in the early 2000s, and the rumors suggest it didn't end well. Like, even though the two of them were on good terms for a while, their post-relationship friendship was doomed from the start, and now the two of them have to be kept far away from each other. Basically, if you want to see the two of them team up to fight a dragon, you're gonna be waiting a long time. Number 4. Miley Cyrus and Sprouse. Okay, so by all official standards, this next one shouldn't really count, but I found it so funny that we just had to leave it on the list. Like, everybody knows that when you're a kid, relationships don't really count, and it turns out that's true even if you're a kid that spends all your time hanging around a Disney Channel set. Like, it's kinda common knowledge for Disney kids that basically everyone dated at some point, and those relationships usually don't have the longest shelf life. Anyway, Sprouse, also known as Zach from Zach and Cody, had a short-lived Disney relationship with one of the biggest Disney stars at the time, Hannah Montana. That's right, he met Miley Cyrus on set while she was filming her show, and the two of them liked each other so much that they started dating that same day. Sounds perfect, I know, but disaster struck, because one of the Jonas Brothers walked by while the two of them were hanging out. Obviously, Miley was completely obsessed, and Zach's heart was broken, but don't feel too bad for him. After all, he ended up dating Brenda Song, aka London Tipton. You know, the girl everyone was obsessed with on The Sweet Life? Who knew?
Miley and Dylan, you guys, according to this magazine, dated for one day. Is that true, Dylan?
When I was about 11, 12, probably, around
Take us through that day. How did it go? Do you remember?
It's hard, but yes, kind of, relatively. We met at her set, I believe, and we dated, and then Nick Jonas walked by, and then it was over.
Oh, really? Oh, isn't that always the way?
And then we went.
Number 3. If Hilary Duff and Shia LaBeouf sound like an odd couple to you, don't worry, it's not just because their names rhyme. In fact, while they did technically date for a little while, their whole relationship was so short and so terrible that it should be on a completely different list. I don't know, maybe one called like Top 5 Celebrities who will probably never ever date again, like ever. The story is the two of them went on one date after Shia worked on Transformers, and for some reason, he decided to take her out for sushi. Now that's a pretty normal story so far, and he even paid for dinner, which was nice of him, but he later said in an interview that it was the worst date either of them have ever had. Now I know you're probably desperate to know more, but here's the really tragic thing. Neither of them has given out any more details. That's right, this legendary one-date romance was so terrible that they both refuse to talk about it ever since, so I'm assuming they're just hoping to forget about it. Number 2. Demi Lovato and Cody Linley. I know I've said already that Disney kids are famous for dating each other, but it's true, and it turns out it carries on even when they're all grown up. I mean, Demi Lovato is already one of the worst for bad relationship picks, because she dated Miley Cyrus's brother Trace, as well as her ex-boyfriend Joe Jonas. But it turns out they weren't the only time she found a boyfriend in that crew. No, it turns out one of her younger relationships was with Cody Linley, who starred with Miley on Hannah Montana back in the day. Unfortunately, it was another date that didn't go well enough to end a relationship, but the two of them both ended up with a worse date story that's hard to beat. Basically, even though both of them thought that the other one was totally adorable, the date was ruined as soon as Cody picked Demi up, because his car broke down right there in the street. I'm not joking, it started making weird noises and Cody was completely freaked out, until Demi hopped out and helped him fix it. I mean, you don't really want to start a date by shining a light into someone's car while they figure out what's wrong with it, but that's what Demi did, so hey, at least it didn't catch on fire, right? Okay, here's our honorable mention. Now you might think that Millie Bobby Brown is too young to be dating anyone, but as we've already seen, child stars have a habit of finding each other. So which young celebrity did Millie end up maybe seeing? Well, it turns out Jacob Sartorius was the one that caught her eye, and there's plenty of evidence to prove it. Basically, he started tweeting all sorts of mushy, loved-up things, saying that he had his mind on a certain someone all day. Now clearly all the fangirls were desperate to know who it was, until Millie Instagrammed a picture of her in bed with a giant teddy bear, and there was a caption thanking a mystery boy for giving it to her. There's also a lot of speculation that he commented on the picture saying quote-unquote of course, but that vanished so quickly that it's hard to know if he deleted it or if it was a Photoshop job all along. Either way, we're huge fans of Stranger Things, so seeing a star date a YouTuber is pretty freaking cool. But what do you guys think? Do you like Eleven from Stranger Things dating Jacob Sartorius or not? Let us know by leaving a comment. Whoever has the most comments wins.
The reason I followed Jacob Sartorius is because one of my friends really likes him. Not likes, I'm just saying likes him. Is it her? And, shut up.
Friends.
You are so redundant.
Friends.
Up, you idiot. Okay.
Who am I?
Look. So let's just quickly go back to why okay, good. The reason I follow Jacob Sartorius is because he's a young boy, my age.
Why is everyone freaking out because you're following someone?
I know, right?
Is it a bad thing?
No, it's not a bad thing. But I followed him because I followed him.
Number 1. James Arthur and Rita Ora. Now it doesn't get more dramatic than relationships between two singers, and if you need proof, you don't need to look any further than Rita Ora and James Arthur. The two of them seemed like a great match at first. I mean, one of them was on the talent show The X Factor while the other one judged it, and they must have thought that they made like a great team as well. They ended up hooking up one night on Rita's tour bus, and after that, they were inseparable. Like James called the whole thing magical, but all good things must come to an end, and when this relationship ended, it ended badly. Basically, Rita went from saying she was totally in love to not even returning his text messages, which made James develop some pretty unhealthy habits. He ended up sleeping with hundreds of models in just a few months, just to feel better about the breakup, but none of it worked. In the end, he got dropped from his record label and had to sort out his drug addiction, but luckily, he came back a few months later even stronger. I guess the moral here is, if you're a famous singer, don't date another famous singer, unless you're really sure it'll work out, you know, like Jay-Z and Beyonce.
You have talked about Rita Ora, who you were going out with at the time. It didn't work, partly because you couldn't believe that she loved you. And that's a part of this issue, is that you have to learn to love yourself before you allow someone else to love you?
100%. I think that's probably the main thing, actually, you've got to like yourself, you've got to love yourself. I was beating myself up. I don't have much self-worth, so that was probably the main issue, and I think that's a good start. I felt like I needed to be the best X Factor winner that ever been, and people were saying I was credible.
After that success, after the fantastic success that night, where did your head go?
I was like, this doesn't feel like what I thought it would feel like, and I think I just got very lost in the. There's a lot of judgment going on, and I would focus on the negativity, and that's really what it was.
Because it's like that child again, just listening to all the negative
stuff.
boy,
a little lost.
And there's our video on the top 5 celebrities you didn't know dated each other. If you enjoyed the video, please feel free to leave a like down below and subscribe to see whenever I upload a video. Also, if you have your own top 5 or top 10 idea, feel free to search my handy form in the description to submit it. With that said, thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.